The House of Hanover is a German royal dynasty that ruled the Electorate of Hanover and then the Kingdom of Hanover. It succeeded the House of Stuart as monarchs of Great Britain and Ireland in 1714 and ruled the United Kingdom until the death of Queen Victoria in 1901. The House of Hanover was formerly named the House of Brunswick-Lüneburg-Hanover line, as it was originally a cadet branch of the House of Brunswick-Lüneburg. The senior branch became extinct in 1884, and the House of Hanover is now the only surviving branch of the House of Welf, which is the senior branch of the House of Este. The current head of the House of Hanover is Ernst August, Prince of Hanover. History. Dukes and Electors of Brunswick-Lüneburg. George, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, is considered the first member of the House of Hanover. When the Duchy of Brunswick-Lüneburg was divided in 1635, George inherited the Principality of Kallenberg and moved his residence to Hanover. His son, Christian Louis, inherited the Principality of Lüneburg from George's brother. Kallenberg and Lüneburg were then shared between George's sons until united in 1705 under his grandson, also called George, who subsequently became George I of Great Britain. All held the title Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg. George died in 1641 and was succeeded by Christian Louis, first son of Duke George, Prince of Kallenberg and Prince of Lüneburg. He relinquished Kallenberg when he became Prince of Lüneburg. George William, second son of Duke George, Prince of Kallenberg and Prince of Lüneburg. He relinquished Kallenberg when he became Prince of Lüneburg on the death of his brother, Christian Louis. John Frederick, third son of Duke George, Prince of Kallenberg. Ernest Augustus, fourth son of Duke George, Prince of Kallenberg. He became Prince of Kallenberg on the death of his brother John Frederick. He was elevated to Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire in 1692. Ernest Augustus's wife, Sophia of the Palatinate, was declared heiress of the throne of England by the Act of Settlement of 1701, which decreed Roman Catholics could not accede to the throne. Sophia was at the time the senior eligible Protestant descendant of James I of England. George Louis, son of Duke Ernest Augustus and Sophia, became Elector and Prince of Kallenberg in 1698 and Prince of Lüneburg when his uncle George William died in 1705. He inherited his mother's claim to the throne of Great Britain when she died in 1714. Monarchs of Great Britain and the United Kingdom and Electors and Kings of Hanover. George Louis became the first British monarch of the House of Hanover as George I in 1714. The dynasty provided 6 British monarchs of the kingdoms of Great Britain and Ireland: George I, George II, George III, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, George III, George IV, William IV, Victoria. George I, George II, and George III also served as electors and dukes of Brunswick-Lüneburg, informally electors of Hanover. From 1814, when Hanover became a kingdom, the British monarch was also King of Hanover. In 1837, however, the personal union of the thrones of the United Kingdom and Hanover ended. Succession to the Hanoverian throne was regulated by semi-Salic law, which gave priority to all male lines before female lines, so that it passed not to Queen Victoria but to her uncle, the Duke of Cumberland. In 1901, when Queen Victoria died, her son and heir Edward VII became the first British monarch of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, Edward taking his family name from that of his father, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Kings of Hanover. After the breakup of the personal union after the death of William IV in 1837, the following kings of Hanover continued the dynasty: Ernest Augustus I, George V. The Kingdom of Hanover came to an end in 1866 when it was annexed by Prussia. The 1866 rift between the House of Hanover and the House of Hohenzollern was settled only by the 1913 marriage of Princess Victoria Louise of Prussia to Ernest Augustus, Duke of Brunswick, Prince-Bishops of Osnabrck. At the end of the 30 Years' War, the Peace of Westphalia awarded the Prince-Bishopric of Osnabrück alternately to a Catholic bishop and to a cadet branch of Brunswick-Lüneburg. Since the treaty gave cadets priority over heirs and reigning princes, Osnabrück became a form of appanage of the House of Hanover. Ernest Augustus, Elector of Brunswick-Lüneburg, a fourth son of George, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg. Ernest Augustus, Duke of York and Albany, sixth son of Ernest Augustus, Elector of Brunswick-Lüneburg. Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Albany, second son of George III. Osnabrück was mediatized to Hanover in 1803. Dukes of Brunswick. In 1884, the senior branch of the House of Welf became extinct. By semi-Salic law, the House of Hanover would have acceded to the Duchy of Brunswick, but there had been strong Prussian pressure against having George V of Hanover, his son, the Duke of Cumberland, succeed to a member state of the German Empire, at least without strong conditions, including swearing to the German Constitution. By a law of 1879, the Duchy of Brunswick established a temporary council of regency to take over at the Duke's death, and if necessarily appoint a regent. The Duke of Cumberland proclaimed himself Duke of Brunswick at the Duke's death, and lengthy negotiations ensued, but were never resolved. Prince Albert of Prussia was appointed regent after his death in 1906. Duke John Albert of Mecklenburg succeeded him. The Duke of Cumberland's eldest son died in a car accident in 1912. The father renounced Brunswick in favor of his youngest son Ernest Augustus, who married the Kaiser's daughter, swore allegiance to the German Empire, and was allowed to ascend the throne of the duchy in November 1913. He was a major general during the First World War, but he was overthrown as Duke of Brunswick in 1918. His father was also deprived of his British titles in 1919, for bearing arms against Great Britain. Claimants. The later heads of the House of Hanover have been George V, Ernest Augustus, Crown Prince of Hanover, 3rd Duke of Cumberland and Teviotdale. Ernest Augustus, Duke of Brunswick, son of the previous Ernest Augustus, Prince of Hanover. Ernest Augustus, Prince of Hanover. Ernest Augustus, hereditary Prince of Hanover. See line of succession to the Hanoverian throne. The family has been resident in Austria since 1866. It has held courtesy titles since 1919. List of members. Patrilineal descent. Obiter 912 to 975. Obiter Abizo 9401017. Albertazzo I Margrave of Milan 9701029. Albertazzo II Margrave of Milan D. Welfi, Duke of Bavaria 1037 to 1101. Henry IX, Duke of Bavaria 1074 to 1126. Henry X, Duke of Bavaria, 1108 to 1139. Henry the Lion, 1129 to 1195. William of Winchester, Lord of Lunenburg, 1184 to 1213. Otto I, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1204 to 1252. Albert I, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1236 to 1279. Albert II, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1268 to 1318. Magnus the Pious, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1304 to 1369. Magnus II, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1328–1373. Bernard I, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1362–1434. Frederick II, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1408–1478. Otto V, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1439–1471. Heinrich, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1468–1532. Ernest I, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1497–1546. William, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1535–1592. George, Duke of Brunswick-Lüneburg, 1582–1641. Ernest Augustus, Elector of Hanover, 1629–1698. George I of Great Britain, 1660–1727. George II of Great Britain, 1683–1760. Frederick, Prince of Wales, 1707–1751. George III of the United Kingdom, 1738–1820. Ernest Augustus I of Hanover, 1771–1851. George V of Hanover, 1819–1878. Ernest Augustus, Crown Prince of Hanover, 1845–1923. Ernest Augustus, Duke of Brunswick, 1887–1953. Ernest Augustus IV, Prince of Hanover, 1914–1987. Ernst August V, Prince of Hanover, b. 1954. Prince Ernest Augustus of Hanover, b. 1983.